We're going to look at some of these photographs and share some of Dr. Price's experiences as he began his search for health in the early 1930s.
He first visited Switzerland to study whether greater nutrition could be obtained from foods produced at higher altitudes, such as in the Swiss Alpines. He discovered the isolated Lechental Valley, a community compelled by its very isolation to eat locally produced foods. Here he made physical examinations of teeth, recorded data, collected menus, and made photographs of the people. Samples of food and saliva were taken for later analysis in his laboratory. The children had well-formed teeth, good physiques, and an apparent immunity to disease and dental problems. They ate mainly dairy products, whole rye bread, and plant foods such as potatoes and cabbage. Meat was eaten sparingly, usually only once a week. In contrast, Swiss children living in modernized districts had widespread tooth decay, facial and dental arch deformities, and greater susceptibility to disease. Their diet: refined flour, a high intake of sweets, chocolate, sweetened fruits, and a reduced use of dairy products. On his next journey, Dr. Price visited the Outer Hebrides, located off the coast of Scotland. Here he made similar studies among the Gaelic people who inhabit these isolated islands. These rather barren islands have very few trees and little fertility. The islands are often subjected to rough seas and blizzards from the North Atlantic. Most of the people are of early Scottish descent, possessing a physique that rivals that found almost any place in the world. Their teeth are of unusual perfection. The basic foods of these islanders are fish and oat products, such as oatmeal, whole grain breads, and shellfish. But when the islanders were exposed to the foods of commerce, it was a repetition of what had been found in Switzerland. Bad teeth and general physical degeneration was the result. For example, these two brothers lived under the same roof, but ate differently. The older ate primitive foods and was in excellent health. The younger had extensive tooth decay and a poor physique from eating the foods of commerce. In 1933, Dr. and Mrs. Price visited Alaska to study the Eskimos, one of the last examples of a Stone Age people. The areas they visited were isolated. Travel was often very difficult. Among the Eskimos, Dr. Price discovered examples of physical excellence and dental perfection seldom found anywhere else in the world. Living in isolated districts on native foods, they had uniformly broad dental arches and typical Eskimo facial patterns. Their general health was excellent. The Eskimos ate foods rich in minerals and vitamins, mainly caribou, kelp, berries, fresh fish, organs of large sea animals, and seal oil. When the Eskimos were exposed to the foods of commerce, there was a marked rise in dental decay and a change in facial and dental arch formation. Dental service was not readily available, and dental pain was often acute among these people.
Dr. Price continued his studies with the Indians of northern Canada. Although they were in close contact with civilization, they still lived much as their ancestors had.
These Indians inhabited northern British Columbia and the Yukon Territory, an area inside the Rocky Mountain Range. This isolated area had to be reached by water, and over roads that often were almost impassable. Long ago, these Indians discovered that the white man got scurvy when forced to live for long periods of time in this area where fresh fruits and vegetables were often not available. To avoid this dreaded disease, the Indians ate the adrenal gland and organs of moose and caribou. This gave them the necessary vitamin C, the vitamin that prevents scurvy. Primitive groups of Indians consistently had well-formed facial and dental arches that represented the tribal pattern. But new generations, exposed to the foods of commerce obtained at trading posts or through government agencies, showed marked changes in facial and dental arch forms. Extensive tooth decay was quite evident.